Thank you, Nancy, and to the organizers of the conference. I'm really pleased to be able to take part today and share some thoughts, some observations about what we're going through right now. To me, it's the timing of the conference is kind of incredible, with the juncture of the election that's coming up and also the financial meltdown that we're in the middle of. And so some reflection about that is what I'd like to share. The main point, to boil it down, is just the idea of the centrality of race to the struggle for social progress in the United States. And pointing to background that we all know, the struggle to overturn slavery. Black people were central to that during abolition, when they were the majority of the people in the abolitionist movement, during the Civil War, when the black soldiers made the difference at a time when white support was flagging, and then during the Reconstruction period, when there were social policies that compare favorably today, say around concern for tenant farmers in terms of being progressive. And then also the second Reconstruction, what some people call that, which is the 1950s to 70s, where there were advances and which was driven by the civil rights struggle, and which turned into black power and self-determination, the upsurge of other national movements, Native, Latino, and Asian, the women's movement, the anti-war movement, the ecology movement, all had great energy during those periods. And in both these examples, appeals to racism helped to defeat the progressive motion in society and turn back the clock. We all know that with the defeat of Reconstruction and the period after that, the country descended into Jim Crow segregation. Appeals to white supremacy and racial terror in North Carolina had played out in the massacre in Wilmington in 1898, which was based on rabid race baiting of the fusion government of the previous about 6 years. During the so-called Reagan Revolution, there was a turn back on affirmative action, attacking welfare moms as a code word for putting the blame on people of color. Three decades we've been living under now of right-wing rule, including right-wing color blindness. Supposedly, we are not a racist society anymore. And during this same period, we've gone back on each of those areas where gains were made during the 1960s and 70s. So now I'd like to take a look at, bring things up to date now, and just briefly look at the election and then move to the financial meltdown. For example, we're hearing a lot about attacks on the organization ACORN, right? And what's ACORN done? It's done great work registering poor people and African Americans and Latino people across the country. And on top of that, they flagged the forms that were in error. They flagged them, but they were required to turn them in, or else there would have been a penalty. So they jump on this as a way to attack supposedly the problem of fraud, when the real problem, as we all know, is disfranchisement, as we saw in 2000 and 2004. So you use the attack on people of color as a way to shift what's really going on and to undermine basic democratic rights. Another thing we've seen is the tax cuts that Obama is suggesting for the 95% of the people, right? And this gets turned around to be called welfare, right? If anyone has seen Fox News about this stuff. And so welfare we know is a code word, and so that applies to poor black people. So, okay, the white people now will be scared. Oh, I'm going to be included in that bunch. So it's another example of turning the fire onto people of color, scaring off white people, and covering for the huge tax breaks to the rich that have taken place over the past 3 or 4 decades. It's both in terms of the higher tax brackets being cut down and also the elimination of the inheritance tax.